Welcome to a special episode of Horror News Radio.
That is a long, sad story involving some unsightly bodily fluids.
This episode we cover Ash vs. the Evil Dead, Season 3, Episode 2.
Civil defense officials in Cumberland have told newsmen that murder victims showed evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers. The Survival Command Center at the Pentagon has disclosed that a ghoul can be killed by a shot in the head or a heavy blow to the skull.
I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Horror News Radio, the official gruesome magazine podcast. Back with me again for this special episode is the one and only Dave Dreher. How you doing, sir?
Good afternoon, Sir Doc. I'm well. I want to talk some Evil Dead.
Good afternoon in Europe. It's morning. But yeah, let's go with this.
Hey, whatever. I'm so confused. It's been a long week.
Also joining us is Thomas Mariani. He's the hardest working man in podcasting. Thomas, how you doing?
Good morning. Good morning, Doc.
Oh, it's going off to Disneyland here. All right, what are we doing, Thomas? This is something different for us. I don't know if we've done this on Horror News Radio before.
Yeah, we announced this on episode 256, but we are planning to cover every single episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3. So the remaining, 9 episodes at this point, because we covered episode 1 as a news segment there. And we're going to have little extra things for episodes 2 through 10 that will be posted on the Monday after they air on Sunday night.
If all goes well. And that is the trick. But we're here to do this. We do this because we love you listening to the show. And we, Ash vs. Evil Dead. What better show represents horror on TV?
Well, yeah, especially, I used to do this in a written form for Gruesome Magazine. I did it seasons 1 and 2. And it's a bit more interesting, I think, to discuss the show necessarily than to write a long diatribe about, so how far about the artistic creativity of, say, the sperm bank fight sequence. I don't know if I could write a whole paragraph about that.
Throwing vials of semen at you.
Oh, he avoided that like the plague, though.
Yeah, lightning quick, wasn't he?
Oh man! All right, so what do we? Well, I'm just going to read the synopsis from IMDb, and then we'll dive into the discussion. Ruby gives birth to a form of evil and disguises herself to bond with Brandy. Kelly returns with a friend who is leading the search for the One to defeat the Dark One, while Ash realizes evil is out to get his daughter. That's pretty accurate. So let's dive into the daughter first. This is a new character, Brandy Barr, who was introduced in episode 1, and we get more of her here. She's sulking and sulking and sulking. Thomas, what do we think of her?
She's a teenage girl, Doc. She's going through a lot of things. I don't think we need to judge her too badly. But at the same time, I hope the writers kind of, get us off the beaten path of her not trusting Ash, especially after all the shit she saw already. It's just like, he seems to know what he's doing with the demons and stuff. So hopefully we get over this hurdle sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and Ash, Dave, what about you? What do you think of her?
Yeah, the whole teen angst thing isn't going to play much longer. I agree with Thomas. I hope we get a little deeper into this. And that's one thing you got to give this show credit. They move quickly. They don't really spend a lot of time dwelling on any one topic of anyone's certain character flaws. So I think we're just got to, they're setting this up quick. I have a feeling by next episode we'll be through the whole, oh, dad stuff.
Maybe. Yeah, they, characters get introduced and, we get off pretty quickly, Brandy Barr's mother and Ash Williams' wife for an hour? Candy Bar. Got
8 minutes. Yeah.
Got her head lopped off last episode. So spoilers for that if you haven't seen it. And, so now Brandy is moved in with Ash, and Ash is, hilariously ill-equipped to be a dad.
But he's trying. That's why it's funny. He's so trying to make this work, but he just doesn't know how to make it work or have the competency. Though at the same time, I love the fact that he's worried about the idea that he might have more children. I love that cutaway too. Just like, hey, Dad, here are the rest of your kids. Like, Mother of God.
Which leads to the scene that we talked at the top of the show with the going to the sperm bank to check things out. So let's dive into that, because that's I guess that's the horrific element of this episode.
It's the centerpiece.
Yeah.
Of the entire episode. Yeah.
And how did we think that played out? Did we get good dead-eyed action, and wasn't imaginative? Was there an invention in here that was worth having this, be the centerpiece?
Well, the interaction he has with the porno magazine, I thought was quite creative. Just in terms of the hand coming out, and especially whenever we see just like the arm out of like the paper thin magazine. I love that effect, and also really good music to say it to with Aha's "Take on Me."
Always a great music choice. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I thought the whole porn mag thing was actually quite brilliant. I was a little they've kind of taken in this thing with people's backs being to you, and then when they turn around, they're a deadite. And I thought they were going to go there again with I'm sorry, I can't remember the attendant's name. But, again, they changed it up there as well. They didn't go there. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this whole, someone with your back to you. Oh, my God, why aren't they answering me? And they spin around and they got the whole demon face thing going on. And, again, they mixed it up a little bit and kind of surprised me with how they revealed things. So I think it was a very good centerpiece for this particular episode.
Yeah, because we get
also first dead-eyed death by freezing.
Yeah, that worked out well. That worked out well.
Death.
Yeah, because we get the doctor. The doctor is the one that changes, and I do like the encounter with the attendant or whatever, the one young lady and her, and how that was revealed, and the result of it. Because at the time Ash is in the special room, right? And
the special room.
Yeah, her face comes busting through the wall. I enjoyed this. It also has a great funny gag, because the arm coming out of the magazine basically grabs the area that you would think an arm coming out of a magazine would grab. And as he's leaving, when it's all said and done, he is limping in a very hilarious fashion.
Yeah. Well, then when he goes back to the Ashy Slashy store, and he's got the hand print on his crotch. That was good.
All right.
I'm not going to let them grab my daughter. Or my balls.
Oh no! Yes. And so how did this compare to last week's Instruments of Death?
The Instruments of Death thing was fun, though I think they that feels like it's playing on more traditional, older Evil Dead stuff. This feels like there's a bit more new innovations here and there, and also it has Bruce Campbell go through even more undignified circumstances, which I think is always a great plus for an Evil Dead sequence. The amount of enjoyment is directly proportional to how much dignity Bruce Campbell lacks in any given sequence.
He is the master of that. Oh my! Let's talk about Ruby and the opening with her giving birth to this demon child thing. Dave,
an interesting birth. You have to give it that much.
Yeah, gory, right?
Yeah, gory. About as much blood as you're ever going to possibly see on a TV screen at any one given moment. Again, I think it worked. Again, no real big surprise when the hitchhiker or whoever it was, the guy alongside of the road, opens the door and the baby eats his face or attempts to eat his face. Wasn't really shocked by that, but again, still just the ferocity and the violent nature of the whole thing. Pardon the pun, but they're going for the throat. With this season, and they're not letting up, and I'm loving it.
Thomas, that was good, Dave.
Well, I really did enjoy it. Especially it felt like it might have been. This might be reaching a bit too much into Evil Dead lore. It felt like maybe it was a callback to Evil Dead Baby, Doc.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, there's a segment you can watch. It's like on the making of stuff for Evil Dead 2, where it's like Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger, a bunch of those guys that worked on that movie, their special effects things, shot a short film in the school where they were shooting Evil Dead 2, where basically they were being followed around by a baby doll. And it's played like a over the top horror movie. And I felt like this is a bit of a nod. Maybe.
I didn't put that there, but it works. I like the umbilical cord piece, the way that when the baby bites into the hitchhiker that, it feeds her and brings Ruby back around. And then Ruby, of course, is walking around with her chest wide open. Pretty gruesome.
I love that prosthetic, yeah.
Yeah, gruesome stuff. Really well done. Another bit with Ruby is the reveal of the guidance counselor. Thomas, is this working for you?
I'm a bit confused because it is certain, like, we just get the whole fact of, like, Brandy comes in, she's very close to this guidance counselor, and we get the reveal that looks like Ruby. But I don't know if we got the idea that, like, is Ruby disguising herself as this guidance counselor so, like, she can be seen as the guidance counselor this person knows? Has she been posing as this guidance counselor for all these years? What exactly is it? It would have been solved with, like, a simple visual nod. I'm just not sure what exactly they're going for there.
Dave, what about you? Confused?
Yeah, I was going to say I agree with Thomas entirely. I didn't know if it was supposed to be Ruby or is she controlling, the mind to make it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I guess perhaps we'll find out more in another episode. Again, with these episodes only being they're technically 24 minutes long, 27 minutes long. They try to pump a lot of stuff in. So maybe that part of the storyline hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah, well, it does put, Brandy right in the center of things, which I guess is the point of this season.
Puts her in harm's way.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anybody that gets anywhere near Ashley Slashy is in trouble. I don't know, unless your name is Pablo or, even then, good God. All right. So we have a new character, that's introduced, as a sidekick to Kelly, who is returning, from, I'm not really certain. She basically was running a bar or something, or was I don't know.
With the bartender, maybe?
Yeah, whatever it was. But she's back, and she has this fellow alongside of her. What do we think? What do we think of Dalton? I thought he would be bigger. Sorry. That's a different movie. But go ahead. Dave.
It's causing an interesting dynamic between her and Pablo. Other than that, we're going to have to wait and see if he actually serves any purpose in the storyline or the mythos of Evil Dead. Right now, he's just kind of there to make Pablo angry or jealous, and make for some interesting dialogue between the two of them. But so far, not that impressed. He seems to know what the etchings are about on Pablo's body, the tattoos. So we'll have to see. He's searching for the one, right? Isn't that his? That's
his goal,
his stated goal.
He's serving as Captain Exposition a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, he's not detracting yet for me, but I'm not sure he's adding that much either.
Thomas, what about you?
Yeah, I'm generally with Dave. He feels like one of those characters that they've introduced many times where it's like, I kind of provide exposition and a bit of like a dramatic drive, and I'm probably going to get killed off in a couple episodes and it won't matter. I kind of feel like that might be the case with him. But, I like some of the stuff from his sequence. Like, I like the animated sequence we get, detailing the whole Knights of Sumeria thing and the sort of power of the book that it has over some of these, like, cult leaders that they had back in, like, the 1400s and stuff. I thought that was a cool sequence there. But I'm also just kind of getting sick of the whole Pablo and Kelly will they, won't they thing. It's like, it's Sam and Diane, it's Jim and Pam. We get it.
Yeah, and you can't resolve it, though.
I hope they progress the characters beyond that.
Yeah, but that's a problem. You can't resolve that, right? Because once you resolve it, it's done, and then you have Baby in the show. It gets canceled, right?
Or you could get them beyond that, make them realize, hey, we're probably just better as friends, and actually have them progress as characters. Doc, you could do that too.
You can.
Oh, you can. Thomas, you're so practical.
But that removes the tension. I don't know. It's a thing we're going to deal with. We also have Naked Woman, as Pablo keeps calling her, right?
Yes, his little it was a fever dream.
Yes,
not quite sure what
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
but it for me it referenced his uncle, and
it definitely did. Yeah, I got that same.
They directly referenced that.
Yeah, and that's what I enjoyed about it because I've rewatched the first two seasons preparing for this one, and the 2 or 3 episodes that we get with his uncle were a bit of a highlight of that first season for me. I like that character. I kind of wish we had more of them, and this may provide a way for that to happen. Am I reaching?
No, I think that's directly what they're trying to reference, is a lot of those, like, the Brujo elements that were in the first season are going to kind of, I guess, be passed on to Pablo, which I hope they do, because it's like I've said before with this show. They need something for Pablo and Kelly to do, because they're really fun characters. I like Ray Santiago and Dan De Lorenzo. Just wish that they gave them, opportunities to become like fun characters. And I think they're going to at least have a practical reason for Pablo beyond being, the book as inscribed. Now we just got to do that for Kelly.
Yeah, that's a harder nut to crack though, right?
Evidently.
Dave?
Yes.
Yes,
Doc?
Any comments about this particular element of the show? I mean,
I unlike yourself, or I did not go back and watch the first 2 episodes, so I had kind of forgotten about the uncle character, but I immediately got the reference. I might be wise to actually go back and revisit those, just because it looks like maybe they're going to revisit some of that stuff from those seasons. So I want to make sure I'm getting all the references. But yeah, I mean, it's working, and I also agree with Thomas. It'd be nice if our 2 little favorite sidekicks actually had a reason for being there other than someone for Ash to insult or play off of.
Yeah, so it seems like we're getting a number of new elements introduced, right? We have whatever this Bruja lady is, and it's not Bruja, that's something else. But then we get the new baby, and of course, the dark one and the one, and the stuff that we've been dealing with for seasons. But I hope that they don't carelessly cast these aside and actually do something with them. I mean, I think we've suffered that in the past, haven't we, Thomas?
Yes.
So maybe we have like an ultimate showdown between these various characters in our future.
Let us hope. They seem to be kind of going out of their way to do a little bit of what we talk about on the H&R proper a lot, the world building. They're trying to create an addition to the Evil Dead universe that we currently already know. So we'll see if they actually do anything with it.
All right, well, let's give our impression if the second episode is a step up, kind of meandering, or is it something, is it slipping? Is it losing ground? Where are we going with this, Thomas? Are we in good shape?
I think it's still gliding along on the same pace as the first episode. Usually, the problem is with Ash's Evil Dead seasons, I would say, is that the first half or so, I think, has like the fun, inventive stuff. And then the second half, you can feel the writers not quite knowing what to do with it for a season. And then by the very end, they're just like, we give up. So I kind of hope they avoid that predictable turn this season. And so far, they're at least keeping to the good part of that pattern. I would say. So, yeah, so far, so good.
Right, because we have a new showrunner this season, right?
Yes. So hopefully, especially with that element of it, we do kind of avoid that. Dave,
what about you? What is your what's your take?
So far, so good. 2 episodes in, gore factor high. I winced a few times. I laughed several times. Liking what I'm seeing. I'm enjoying the characters. 2 thumbs up so far, but as Thomas points out, we're only 2 episodes in. This particular series has a habit of waning as it progresses, so let's hope that's been solved.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying this quite a bit. I think they're giving Bruce Campbell a little bit more to go with the daughter. I think that's an element that I think his character needed for this show. I hope that they figure out what to do with her outside of just being an emotional foil for him. But it does bring an aspect to it that I think is an interesting balance. And I'm curious to see how Kelly and Brandy will work together. Will they become, kind of sisters in the cause, or is there going to be, there's a danger of them being too similar, and I hope they avoid that. And then I have no idea what they're doing with Dalton. We'll see.
Time will tell.
All right. Anybody have any last comments? Is that it for episode 2?
Also, shout out to the song at the end of the credits is "Rock Your Baby" by George McCrae.
I love their music choices. I love it.
Yes.
All right. Well, we want to hear from you. Head over to horrornewsradio.com/feedback and let us know what you think of doing these special episodes. What do you think of Ash vs. Evil Dead? What do you think of the new characters? Let us know. Let us know. This is fun. I'm excited about doing this. All right. With that, we'll say goodnight, and we'll see you next week for, I guess, episode 3. There's no way of getting around that, right?
No,
Bring it on.
Stuck. We're stuck, and you will join us.
Nice. Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.